Student Services and Programs. Hi, everybody. I'm Vanessa Ori. I'm working as the Assistant Director of International Student Services. This is a collaboration between International Student Services and Programming and Career Success. I'll pass it over to my colleague Chen Ling, and we'll give it over to the Career Success team.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chunling Hu. I'm an international student advisor with ISSP. Welcome today and join this career workshop with us. I will pass it over to Erin.
I'll take it from here and then I'll pass it to Erin. Thank you so much, Chungling and Vanessa, for inviting us today. And hello, everyone that was able to join us. My name is Bridge Kennedy. I use they, them pronouns, and I am one of our career engagement specialists for diversity and equity programming over at the Career Success Office. And I'm super excited to talk about LinkedIn and networking with you all today. And I'll pass it along to Erin now.
Hi, everybody. My name is Erin Bush. I use she, her pronouns. I, too, am a career engagement specialist. While I work with all UCSC students, I do a lot of specialized programming with Baskin Engineering. So I do work with a lot of engineering students, but I work with all of our students as well. And yeah, I do everything from career coaching to, like I said, kind of professional development programming and things like that. LinkedIn is an exceptional tool, and it's something that I too am very excited about talking about today. I think it's a really there's a lot of benefits to using LinkedIn, and there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about here today. But there's a lot more that you can do with LinkedIn. So I'm going to use a shameless plug for career services. I recommend everybody making an appointment with a career coach because we can walk you through in a lot more detail a lot of the benefits of LinkedIn, among a lot of other things. We can help with like your job search and with interview prep and even career exploration. We can help with a lot of those things. So definitely take advantage of our services at Career Success. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just get started. One thing I want to mention is if you could take a moment to open your, to log into your LinkedIn. Sometimes that can take a little while. Log into your LinkedIn and open up your LinkedIn profile page if possible, or just be logged in because you're going to be using LinkedIn in this workshop. And what we're going to talk about today is we're talking about creating an effective LinkedIn profile and talking about personalizing that LinkedIn profile to you and like why you want to personalize your profile. And then we're going to spend some time talking about networking on LinkedIn using the LinkedIn alumni tool, which is an incredibly great resource. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just first quickly kind of give a profile tour, like before we kind of jump into the slides. I'm sharing my screen and we're going to go to LinkedIn. So if you go to your profile, and that's, you can find that here. I'm just going to go to my profile and just kind of use my profile as an example of just the different things that we're going to be talking about today. So this is obviously my picture. Here's my name here. This little badge right here is a verification because it knows that I work at UC Santa Cruz. It has my UCSC account. So when you see that on LinkedIn profiles, that means like, oh, they legitimately work at that place that they say they work at. This is the headline right here, which is a very important part, and I'm going to be talking about that as well. You can kind of scroll down. You can see up here like this. This is where I work. This is my alma mater, and this is kind of analytics. This is like the profile views. This is the about section, which is really important. I'm going to talk a lot about that and how to kind of optimize that about section. This is some of my activity, just that I reposted this yesterday. It was a post from 2 days ago, but these are just reposts that I've done. If I had posted my own original content, that would be up here in my activity section. This is my work experience. So this is where you're going to list the different types of experiences that you've had, like professionally. This is the education section right here. You can see like licenses and certifications. So if you've taken some LinkedIn learning courses, or if you have any like certifications from other universities, those can be listed here. Any volunteer work can be listed in this section here. There's skills, and this is an important section too, which I'm going to talk a lot about, is the skills section. These are recommendations that you can get. Sometimes people will voluntarily put them. You can also ask for recommendations. These are my languages. These are organizations that I follow, or that I'm a part of, actually. And these are like people that I follow, companies, groups, newsletters, things like that. And these are causes that are important to me. So that's just kind of a kind of brief overview, a kind of a tour of I guess a tour of what a LinkedIn profile looks like. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail now with some of these slides, and these slides will be shared. So this is going to be something that you can kind of use to take notes. So anyway, creating an effective LinkedIn profile is what I'm mostly going to be talking about. And then I will be passing it over. I didn't mention that in the beginning. I'll be passing it over to Bridge to talk about the networking component of it all. So where to start? So like what are the components of a LinkedIn profile, or what are the steps to creating a good solid LinkedIn profile? Well, you want to choose the right profile picture. I'll be talking about that. Also be talking about relevant keywords. Really important topic, because LinkedIn is a keyword driven site. So really like the keywords that you're going to be using on your profile is going to be what oftentimes ups the chances of you maybe showing up in a recruiter's search when they're looking for talent to hire. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. We'll also talk about adding your core skills in the skills section. And then this is where you're going to be doing something yourself. We're going to be personalizing your LinkedIn URL. And so I'll show you all how to do that and discuss the benefits of doing so. So it all starts with a photo, right? So like I think having a really nice professional picture, headshot in your LinkedIn is critical. There's been so many studies done, and statistics show that like your chances of getting someone accepting your connection request, of engaging with you, and even like like that first impression, if you don't have a picture, there's going to be a little bit of maybe hesitation sometimes. It's just our psychology. I guess it's like the psychology of us humans. I mean, you never know, the picture might not be real, but like as long as the picture's there, you're going to think like, oh, that's really a picture. But you want to definitely have a real picture. And I'm going to probably say this throughout. You want to always be real. You want to 100% be honest with your LinkedIn profile. So I would use your picture. That was just kind of an anecdote to like, sometimes people will, they won't trust if you're a person or not unless there's a picture there. It's very strange, but anyway, so how to have a good profile picture is you want to make sure you're the only person in the picture. I sometimes will see LinkedIn photo like pictures where there'll be another person in there. There'll be a person that's kind of like cut off. If you could just have like your own, just be the only person in that picture. You definitely want to smile. Like sometimes I've seen some serious faces, and that's okay. But like, also research has studies have shown that like a smiling face is a lot more warmer, and like the warmer you approach or you appear, the more likely someone is going to be to connect with you and to want to engage with you. You want to crop the picture like for your head and shoulders. In terms of like what to wear, and this is not a bullet point for this, you want to look somewhat professional. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a suit and tie like this person here, but if that's your style and if that's what you want to portray, absolutely do it, go for it. But just having something somewhat professional. I mean, like this person here has, it's a nice necklace that they have, and that's really great. And one of the things, there's a benefit. You can have someone take your LinkedIn photo. But I actually recommend going to the Career Center, or the Career Success Center, for two reasons. First and foremost, we actually do have a photo booth, and you can get a professional headshot taken. In fact, here I'm gonna let me see. I can show you an example if I turn my video off. I'll show you. I actually took this picture. I don't know if you can see my profile or my LinkedIn, or not my LinkedIn picture, my Zoom picture. This was actually taken from our photo booth at the Career Success Center. So that's an example of just getting a nice, headshot. And then we also have a career closet, which I don't know if you all know about this, but we have, as a UCSC student, you get up to 3 articles of clothing from our professional career closet. So our career closet is almost like a retail store. Like you can go in there and shop for professional attire, professional looking clothes, and which is great for like if you have an interview, if you're going to a job fair, or if you want to get your LinkedIn profile picture taken. So definitely check us out at the Career Success Center. We are, if you don't know, we're at Han Student Services. And you'll have that information as well. And I think, also thank you for dropping that in the chat, Vanessa. All right, so moving right along. Keywords, that's a very important, 3 pieces of professional clothing per quarter. So, I mean, that's an amazing, amazing offer, right? So take advantage of that because we have some great clothes too. Anyway, so talking about the keywords, as I mentioned, LinkedIn is a keyword-driven site. So recruiters use LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn is still the go-to source that recruiters use when they're looking for talent to fill, full-time positions, internship positions. And so what they do is they'll actually do a search for the people that are out there that are open to work and that are, have like the skills and have like, what they're looking what the recruiter's looking for. There could be a lot of different things, and they can be pretty sophisticated in terms of their searches. As long as you have like the keywords that they're looking for, it's going to be so helpful. You're going to have a better chance of showing up in those searches that recruiters do. Now, there's 3 places. This is something that I was told by someone from LinkedIn, is that the 3 most important places to have those keywords is in skills section, the headline, and then your headline section, your about me section, and then in your skills section. But it's also really important to put them in the experience section too. So we'll kind of go over that. And then in terms of like what keywords should you use? Well, it depends on you, right? Like it depends on what your interests are, what your career interests are, your job perspectives. What I would do, and you probably have a pretty good idea of some of the skills that you're going to be needing and the careers that you're hoping to follow. If you don't, that's okay too. I mean, you can use job descriptions as a reference for that. So maybe you could do a search for, let's say you're interested in front end software development or something like that. And so look for front-end software developer. And so just start looking, as the more these job descriptions that you look at, you'll kind of see a pattern of some of the skills that they're really looking for. And so you're going to try to put those keywords in. Again, you want to be honest. So, if you do have those skills, highlight them, put them in your about me section and your experience in your headline. And then so I think also meeting with a career coach, we can also help you identify the right keywords to use and how to go about finding those keywords. So then in terms of like the different sections, like the headline, as I mentioned to you, that's the first one. And I'm going to go back to my profile real quick. So this is the headline, and we're going to show some examples as well, but it's the one that's right underneath. And so you want to use words like from a prospective job. So you might want to say, I'm going to use that front end developer again. So maybe you'll say like computer scientists with interest in front end software development. You could put those vertical lines. And you could put specific like programming languages or specific skills too, because again, that headline section is where you're going to really show those keywords are really going to show up. It doesn't have to be like your current job title. Like by default, I think that's what LinkedIn will put. So it might say student at UC Santa Cruz or whatever you have in your experience section. A lot of times that's the default. But I would absolutely change that headline, optimize it, upgrade it. And so here's some examples of, okay, I thought I skipped one for a second. So this is Maria. This is Maria's headline. They're a structural virologist. PhD candidate, UC Santa Cruz. And see, that was the vertical line that I was talking about. I don't know what those are called. Pipes, I think somebody has told me. Anyway, X-ray of course we had to have one with hard to say terms, but X-ray crystallography, CyroEM, structure guided protein engineering. So those are some really important keywords that probably show up if you're an aspiring structural virologist. These are probably some really important keywords that Maria is using in their headline section. Here's another headline section as well. So we don't actually have this person's name, but relationships and community builder, storyteller, nonprofit champion, DEI leader, certified executive coach. So this person, that might not be necessarily their title, but these are like keywords about what, that highlight the work that they're doing. So again, like this is a really good example of how to use keywords in your headline section. So then there's the about me section, and that's the one, and again, I'm going to go back to my profile. That's this part right here. This is actually a really important section. Like the headline's really good because this is like, that picture's your first impression, right? But then this is also the first thing that they're going to be seeing, or maybe the second thing. Like obviously your eyes always go to the profile picture, but then this is the next thing they see is the headline. But if they really want to know more about you, this about section is an excellent way to kind of just highlight more about who you are, to take advantage of those key, that real estate on this site to like put, to put keywords. And so some of the things that you might want to consider when you are writing your summary or your about me section is you want to, again, include keywords from your desired job positions. And again, that's going to be a way that the recruiters are going to be able to find you. And then you want to talk about kind of not just the work that you're doing or the, like the work, the skills, like how you've used those skills, but you want to talk about the accomplishments that using those skills brought you. So then that's a really good way, and that's a good practice even in your resume. Is you always want to, you want to lead with the example, lead with the accomplishments, lead with the results of the work that you did. And so here are some examples of an about me section. And so one thing that you can like maybe consider doing is highlighting your experience, including your passion, like, and you don't have to necessarily use the same language, but, like the experience, the passion, and the skills. And so this is a profile that shows that as an example. This isn't really the greatest example because we have 10 years experience. That might not be you, and that's okay. But I would consider, and that might be you. I mean, maybe you did have some experience before coming to UC Santa Cruz, or, you're just gonna, again, you want to be honest about what you're saying. So it doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily have to put a number there, but you can also, I mean, like, let's say you are a web, you're like web producer, web development is kind of your interest area. And maybe you've been taking some web development courses over the last couple of years while you've been here at UC Santa Cruz. So you could say like over 2 years of experience, with web production, communications, localization, geographic information systems. I mean, these are all really great keywords, right? So this is a good example of like how keywords are used and implemented. And then the second section down here is like where we talk about the passion. So accessibility is a passion of mine, and I look forward to optimizing websites for SEO, AX, and UI UX responsive standards. I also enjoy teaching and working with teams and strive for cross-disciplinary camaraderie. Now, this is great. If you want to make this even better, like what you could do also is talk about like why accessibility is a passion of yours, or why whatever that is that you're passionate about that you're listing there, like why that's a passion of yours. And then again, adding in there like how you look forward to bringing that passion to like whatever position or whatever, whatever opportunity that you're going to get. And then down here, like the specialties or this, this is skills. So this is like them listing out their skills. So there's user experience, web production, web development, metrics gathering and analysis, Salesforce, CRM. So we can see like some concepts that they know, and then also maybe specific tools and specific software that they have experience with. Now here's another one. This one looks familiar to me. It's Bridge Kennedy, who's on our call today. So we can see Bridge is a compassionate collaborator, empowering equity and access and early career talent at UC Santa Cruz. Knowing Bridge, I'm going to say that this is absolutely honest. Bridge is definitely a compassionate collaborator, and really empowering equity and access and early career talent is something that they are absolutely passionate about. So good headline there, Bridge. And then you can see Bridge's about section. So Bridge is a purpose-driven student affairs professional with dedication to building inclusive and supportive communities. So we can see like the, their passion there. I mean, so it's kind of just a different way to put this in there, to develop this. We can say, it says Bridge actively cultivates meaningful relationships that center accessibility, empathy, and belonging, both inside and outside of their professional work. A graduate of the University of California, Santa Cruz with cum laude honors, Bridge holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Society and Legal Studies. Now, this is great because it also shows that, where they went to school. That's going to be in this LinkedIn profile as well, but it's okay to like say, to list things multiple times. Again, like we're going to be doing that with our keywords as well. So this is another good example of an About Me section. Now, the experience section, and again, this is down here. And this is, you would think that this would be a part that's like heavily weighted in terms of showing up in the keyword searches. And it is, but it's actually number 4. Like the third is the skills section, but that I'm not telling you that to say, don't put your skills keywords. This is a great opportunity to talk about the work that you've done. So this is my current role right now. This is like a previous role. Now I did this intentionally because I do this to show students like these are examples of having good, write up about in the about me section, or sorry, in the experience section. Don't do this right here. Like this is, you want to actually put like the bullet points, and you want to, I see a lot of profiles that have like nothing in there. Just put a little something there. And again, I know I'm not practicing what I'm preaching, but I'm doing that. I do this as an example to show, because I do a lot of LinkedIn tours pretty much every day, I would say. So I did that intentionally, but you can kind of see the different types of work experience. So I definitely have keywords in there, and I definitely, it's a place to show that. So you're going to use bullet points and sentences that are from your resume. I actually did do that. I think, yeah, some of this stuff is from the bullet points from my resume. I mean, I changed it a little bit, but it's okay to like put the same thing. I mean, I've had people ask me like, well, are the recruiters going to say like, oh, this is the same stuff that's in their resume? They're probably not going to memorize the bullet points from your resume. But you can, one thing that I do talk about is, with the resume, you're wanting to try to keep it to one page. So sometimes you're a little bit more not as wordy, and I'm not saying to be super, super wordy, but like on the LinkedIn profile, this is a way to kind of maybe have an expansion of some of the, like describing some of your experience, which is great. So, using those bullet points, and again, I mentioned, like using bullet points that not just describes the work that you did, but describes the results of the work that you did, and how, and it describes the passion that you have for that. Because again, this is a great way where you can kind of add more to that than just your resume. And then you're going to add additional section to specifically highlight skills from research experience. And I'll show you an example of that. So down here, you can see like web interface design, usability testing, and plus 3 skills. So there's more skills that this person had put on, when they had put together this, this explanation of their experience. And so you'll see that when you actually go in there to like create this, there's going to be a place down in the, like towards the bottom that's going to say skills, and then you're just going to list those, and those might be skills that you already have, and like you can sometimes like match them up as well. So that'll make sense as you're doing that. And again, if you have questions, we're here to help. We are career coaches, and we're definitely here to help you optimize that LinkedIn profile. So this is an example. This is, this person, this is their experience as a UX design and research lead at Tech for Good. So they co-led an 8-person team in user experience research. And notice here how they actually explain user experience research, and then they put in parentheses UXR. This is a good practice to do too, because you don't want to assume that everyone's going to know UXR. So like sometimes I'll see people that'll have, I don't know why my thumbs up just came up, but yeah, I agree. Thumbs up. Like you want to make sure that you're using kind of a universal language. So like not everybody might know what UXR is. So spelling that out and then putting that in parentheses is a good idea. It's a good practice. Okay, so they co-led an 8-person team in user experience research and user experience design to develop an anonymous parent-child conversation platform used on thorough literature and explanation of thematic coding. So you can see like these are like the results. So like they had a leadership role, right? So they're talking about that, and then they talk about what they actually did. So like the results of that work they did was developing an anonymous parent-child conversation platform. And so this is a great example of using kind of results-oriented bullet points. Same thing here, assisted in crafting a comprehensive study plan, including problem identification, user testing, and interviews, which received IRB approval. Now, we could maybe see like, what is IRB? So what I would maybe suggest with that person, maybe put like they did up there with the user experience research. Don't always assume that people are going to know what they're talking about or know what you're listing there. So anyway, so that's kind of an example of how to like use your experience in the on your LinkedIn profile. And finally, there's this, well, not finally, we have a couple more, but the skills section. And this is, I mentioned, this is like in terms of like a recruiter, when they're doing their search, this is the number 3 in terms of showing up in a search. It's the third highest weighted measure. So personalizing your skills, and I'll show you down here, like this is like the skills section over here. Now you can use 50 skills, and which I mentioned there. So you want to prioritize, I guess. I mean, you want to prioritize really the hard / technical skills and soft skills. Now the hard / technical skills, that's going to be like your like specific maybe software, or like being kind of specific to like knowing like an actual tool or something like that. Soft skills, and I'm not crazy about this term. I actually like the term foundational skills, because these are skills like good like communication, management, like working under, fast-paced environments, things like that. I mean, these are foundational skills that like a lot of times you'll get maybe in a retail job or a restaurant job, but these are skills that are going to be incredible. Like anybody can learn hard technical skills, but to actually like really fine tune those foundational skills is important. So don't be afraid to put like, other skills other than just maybe like programming languages or, the technical, like Adobe Photoshop or, those hard technical skills. You want to associate skills with specific experience, and I'll show you an example of that in just a moment. And then it's important for, like I mentioned, in keyword searches, this is like don't be shy. Like, try to get to up to 50 if you can. So this is like, when you're adding your skills, like this is from Bridges' profile as well. You can see that they have, they had this experience as a research intern at UC Santa Cruz. And then this nonviolent crisis intervention was, they'd practiced these skills as youth mental health first aider. And so you can kind of see the different places where these skills are used. And you'll be able to do that like when you actually go to, like, let's actually add a skill, and I'll show you all what I mean. So like, I'm just going to just click that online marketing. And so I could say like, oh, well, I did this online marketing when I was a career engagement specialist. And then I hit save, and then it's going to automatically show up like this. So instead of this, because this is from my experience, and I need to, speaking of practicing what I preach, I need to go in there and put my, the different experience. I've had a LinkedIn profile for a long, long time, and I'd put together my skills before this was actually an option. So that was supposed to be my weekend project last weekend, and it didn't happen. But hold me to it. Like, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm going to be sharing my profile in just a minute. And if I don't have that in there, call me out. Say, hey, Erin, I thought you were going to put your, your experience or your skills, or like align that with your companies that you worked at. But anyway, so that's the skills section. And now finally, this is the final thing that we'll be doing, is personalizing your URL. So it makes it much easier for you to be found. And also it makes it also easier if you're going to list your LinkedIn profile on your resume, which I recommend doing. It's going to be a much easier thing to read because it's going to say linkedin.com/in/first and last. By default, this is what it looks like here. It's this linkedin.com at first last, and it's going to have like this numeric code after that. Let's get rid of that numeric code and just put like, your first and last, or maybe it's hyphen, maybe it's dot, maybe there are a lot, maybe you have a pretty common name, then maybe you do have to put a number or something like that. But, it's up to you to like kind of just personalize it so it's not just this big numeric code. So how you go about doing that is you're going to click on your profile icon. So you can see that up here. This is Eric, another colleague of ours. This is Eric's profile icon. So you click on that, and then you click view profile. And then from there, you're going to click on the public profile and URL. And then from there, you're going to be able to edit your custom URL. So you just click on that little pencil icon, and then you can actually go in there and do that. So let's actually do, I'm gonna give everybody a chance to do that one by one. So again, and follow along if you can. So you go to the profile icon and click profile view. Give you a second to do that. And then from there, you're going to edit public profile and URL. You can see that right here. And after clicking that, this is when you're going to be able to personalize or edit your custom URL. So if you can put your name, and I actually prefer your name and last name, but you could do your name, your first name, hyphen, last name. I think underscore is an option. Period should be an option. So take just a moment to do that. And again, this is why it's important to do that. And then what we're going to do is, if you can, go ahead and drop your URL in the chat. I'm going to do that with mine right here. Let's see. Oops. I meant to discard. So again, like how you get to your profile URL. Yeah, thanks, Bridge. There's Bridge's URL. Here's mine. And while we do that, take a moment to connect with people. I think, having the more, and I didn't really talk about this, which Bridge is going to talk about the network connections. And you'll see why it's important to have as many connections as you can, especially relevant connections. But like, the more people that you're connected to, the better your reach is going to be, the better you're going to be found, the better you're going to be able to find people. Because LinkedIn is a great tool for career research. And again, Bridge is going to show you some of the benefits of using the alumni tool. It's LinkedIn is great for, it's a good job search tool too, but it's a really good tool for connecting with people and doing a little bit of career research and things like that. So does anybody have any questions, or is anybody having a hard time customizing their LinkedIn URLs? Okay, let's see. Any tips on the cover photo at the top of the profile? That is Bridge wrote in third person. Okay, so when you're saying the top, so you're talking about this right here, I'm guessing this is like the background picture.
Yes, thank you.
So I recommend a background picture. I mean, I think, it shows a little bit about you and your character. Like if it's just the default, it just shows that like, well, have they really been thoughtful about their LinkedIn profile, right? So like, you could use something, like I work, like this is my home away from home. So this is basket engineering. So like, I just use that because like, that's, that says something about me, I think, you could use something like, it could be like UC Santa Cruz. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can do. So just something that really is something special to you is what I would recommend. And the next question, I noticed Bridge wrote in third person. Bridge holds it's totally up to you. I mean, it's, there's pros and cons of both, it's kind of a subjective thing. And maybe Bridge might want to, if you want to talk about why you chose third person. There's really, like I said, it's subjective. But yeah, go for it, Rich.
So yeah, I think that I had a really hard time trying to figure out what I wanted to put in my about section. And I think that, as you go through career development, I'm still like early career. I think that like it's definitely going to change. For me, I worked with like brainstorming with ChatGPT to help me come up with kind of like my different sections. And I felt like having it be in third person maybe felt more formal or more I don't know. I think it felt more formal or more concrete in a way rather than me saying I. And I think it just made me feel more confident in my abilities by like thinking about it as almost like someone else is saying that. So yeah, that was the approach that I took. But yeah, definitely I don't think there's any recommendation like one way or the other.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's definitely professional. It has that look of like a bio, like, because like as you'll put together eventually, and maybe you have one already, but a professional bio. And so a lot of times a professional bio is written that way. And so I've seen that. I think that's why a lot of people will do that. But that's a great explanation, Bridge. And I got a message in the chat as well, or a question in the chat, like, what would you recommend to do if you have a pretty common first and last name and can't change the URL just to first and last? I mean, I would try the hyphen, I would try the underscore, I would try the period, but if that probably is not going to be available too if it's a really, really common last name. I would say, I mean, even just 1 or 2 numbers is still better than that long numerical code. So I would just like, maybe like the year, like the last 2 digits of the year you were born, or, something that's meaningful to you, I think is totally okay.
If you have a middle name or like multiple middle names, you could also use your middle initial or your full middle name if that's how you want to, create your personal brand.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good suggestion too. Okay, so does anybody want to share their customized LinkedIn? No pressure, but I mean, it's going to be helpful. The more people that you're connected with, and maybe Bridge needs to show us why it's important. And so maybe this is a good segue into like the networking section of it. But I'm gonna give you guys 30 seconds, 30 seconds to drop your URL in the chat. Again, no pressure, but it's helpful. And so with that, I'm actually going to go ahead and stop share because I'm going to allow Bridge to share their screen. But yeah, please, feel free to reach out to me with any questions in the chat as well. But yeah.
And I'm muted. Okay. Y'all can see it okay?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, great. Yeah, so now we're going to move into our next section, which is focusing on networking and LinkedIn. And yeah, outside of getting reached out to on LinkedIn by recruiters, the other way that you can really advocate for yourself and be proactive in your career is by networking and by using LinkedIn to make those connections yourself as well. So why is networking important? One of the biggest ways that folks receive job offers or find leads for jobs is through their personal networks. So we see just, like statistically about 80% of job offers come through a warm connection. So that might be someone that you're connected to, that might be, someone that you know through someone else. It's really helpful to just be able to get that exposure through networking. Sometimes jobs aren't even posted online. So being able to tap into that hidden job market is also really crucial. Sometimes what'll happen too, like I see this all the time on my LinkedIn, is folks that I follow or are in like a second degree of connection will share a job posting and they're like, come work with me. That's a really great way to find opportunities. The next really important piece about networking in LinkedIn is being able to follow people and learn about their industry, especially if you're considering like, maybe I want to do UX UI, maybe I want to do marketing, like I'm not really sure. Being able to see kind of the experiences that they're sharing and being able to learn and make a more informed decision about your own career. And then lastly, you're just leaving a positive impression in people's minds about you. Your career is a marathon and not a sprint. So you never really know what opportunities can arise from just being able to connect with people. And we definitely encourage doing it early and often. So we wanted to talk a little bit about how LinkedIn networking works. So with LinkedIn, it kind of functions in a connection degree model. So what that means is that when you're not connected to people, you can't really see as many profiles and you're not as exposed to as many opportunities. But as you start to connect with people, you also get a little bit of exposure to the people that they're connected with. So what happens is you kind of get this exponential domino effect where when you have like 100 connections, you kind of have like 3 times that because you're having 3 degrees of connection from the first degree that you have, if that makes sense. It's a little bit hard to kind of illustrate here, but essentially like me and Erin are connected. We're first degree connections. So I get to see her profile and, like she'll show up in my feed and things like that. Let's say maybe there's someone at UC Berkeley that Erin is connected with, but I'm not. They would be a second degree connection for me. So they might show up in my feed. They might be recommended as someone that I could connect to. And then the third degree is someone that's connected to your second degree connections. So that person at UC Berkeley that I'm not connected to, someone else that they're potentially connected to would be a third degree connection. If no degree is listed, then they're completely outside of the connection network. And so it's helpful to connect with people that have a lot of connections because it increases that, exponential ability to connect with folks. People like the career success coaches, we typically have a lot of connections. And yeah, definitely encourage you to connect with us as well. And then, yeah, talking about the LinkedIn alumni tool. So in terms of thinking about like, who do you connect with? I think it's definitely recommended to connect with any like supervisor or folks that you've volunteered with here at UCSC or at any other institutions you've been at. And then also connecting with your peers in your classes. But additionally, you can connect with alumni that have already graduated and might be in a field that you're interested in. And yeah, we'll look at it there. So a really great reason to use like LinkedIn for this connection purpose is to also see what the different opportunities are from people that were in your major or maybe had like a similar work experience to you. So you can know like, oh, okay, if I had this experience, I'd probably be qualified for a job that they have as well. And then additionally with that, being able to connect with alumni, you can also reach out to them and ask them about their experience and almost in like an informational interview sense, where you can better understand where they came from and learn from that to make a more informed decision about your career as well. So looking at the LinkedIn alumni search, I think what I'll do is similar to what Aaron did, is just go there. So this is kind of what it looks like. This is a direct link. So when you get the slideshow, you'll be able to access this as well. But one thing to keep in mind is that you do need to be logged into LinkedIn to view this. So, so we'll just go to, this is my profile. And I search it up all the time, but I'll look up University of California, Santa Cruz. And then from there, you'll click on that like main button. And then down here is where you'll find the alumni search. And over here, we have 134,000 alumni and current students on the platform. Keep in mind that, you know, some of these folks will still be in college or at UC Santa Cruz. So you can use this end year function as well to try and find folks that are a little bit further along in their career if you want to maybe reach out to them about informational interviewing. So you see the number goes down there. Maybe I want to look for someone that's did a sociology degree and is now in marketing. So you can use a comma to separate different keywords. Click enter, and then you see we have like almost 1,000 alumni that show up. If I want to narrow it down even further, maybe I just want to look at people that are in San Jose. And then I can scroll down and take a look at these different profiles and see like, oh, okay, maybe I'm interested in like a venture fund. Never really thought about doing something like that as a sociology major. And I can take a look at the experiences that they've had at UCSC. This is also a great way to identify potential internships for yourself here. One of the big internship/class experiences that we have here is the Everett program. It's really great for like building data skills and data and technology skills from a social sciences perspective. So I really like looking at other people's LinkedIn profiles because it just gives you more concrete ideas of where you can potentially go and where to kind of get started. And then what I did want to mention as well is the connection feature. So we'll head back into, well, I'll just take a look at it here. So looking at this profile, like let's say that I maybe wanted to connect with Mariana. So what I could do is I could hit connect. And then since I don't, well, Mariana is a second degree connection of me, but maybe if they were a third degree connection or if I've never met them in person, you can also send with a note. So you can click on that. Oh, I thought it would. Oh, usually what you're able to do is send a note to be able to just give them a little bit of an introduction. Usually what we recommend when you're reaching out to someone for the first time and sending a note is to not necessarily ask them for a favor, but more approach it as getting to know someone. So asking them maybe like, hi, I'm a current student. I found you through the alumni search, and I'm really interested in learning more about like how you got started at your current position. That would definitely be an appropriate question to ask. And then I just want to confirm, is my slide still sharing? Okay, thanks, Erin. So yeah, you know, if you're not as connected with people, like maybe it won't show some additional things here. But you know, the more you connect with people, the easier it'll get. So when you are thinking about like who do you want to maybe connect with, you can also think about the job position. So if you use that keyword search, it'll show up folks' past positions and also their current positions. So like maybe you won't like you're in a current internship and you want to see alumni that were in the internship that you were in, you can type that in directly and see those potential folks. You can also search by company or career path in general. So if you want to say like marketing or like technology, I think is a broad one, but maybe you could say like front end developer or something like that. And then, yeah, just connecting with people, considering adding a note, like I mentioned. I think maybe one of the reasons why it didn't work is that you get up to 5 notes when you connect with folks per month if you have a free LinkedIn account. So be mindful of how you're using those if you end up using a free account. But I definitely recommend sending a note if you don't know someone. If you do know someone, you don't need to send a note. And then, yeah, this is kind of what it'll look like I mentioned there. And then this is an example of a draft message that you could use. This will be available for you as well in the slideshow. So especially framing it as something that you want to learn more about, and focusing on them can help create that warm connection. So talking a little bit more about informational interviews, if you do end up kind of getting to chat with someone more, and they respond to your LinkedIn note, you are more than welcome and definitely encouraged to set up like a coffee chat with them or an informational interview. Typically, you can ask for like a 15 or 30-minute meeting that can be like over the phone or maybe on Zoom or even in person if they're in the area. You want to think about some thoughtful questions that you can ask the alumni and then focus on the person that you're interviewing and not yourself, like I mentioned. So when you're thinking about doing an informational interview, we have some sample or like recommended structure for you as well. So when you are connecting with folks, thinking about, introducing yourself, just being warm and friendly, like asking them how their day is going. Um, Also asking them about potentially trends. So what trends are impacting your business right now? How has your sector changed most since you started? You can also ask them about insights. So thinking about like what are some lessons that they learned? What's been your best or worst professional decision? Thinking about advice more specifically, like if you were me in my position, what would you be doing right now to prepare for your career path? In terms of resources, asking them what resources they've used or what they would recommend for you, and then wrapping up by thanking them for their time and asking for a potential follow-up. And then I might have something in the chat here. Okay, thank you, Vanessa, for sharing that. So that is our recommended structure for using the LinkedIn alumni tool. You don't have to reach out to everyone that you connect with, but you can really get a lot out of it. A lot of alumni do use LinkedIn and are typically happy to help current students, especially if they have something in common with them, like a major, or maybe you took the same professor. That's one way to kind of build connection with folks as well. So to recap, use the alumni tool to expand your network. Use it to set up informational interviews, and then use your network to learn more about job opportunities as well. Like I think, like I mentioned again, just being able to look at people's specific profiles and see like different companies can really just give you some concrete steps and give you a sense of just a little bit more clarity about like options for yourself. Oh. So now we're going to take a second to do a brief activity. What I'd like you to do is open up LinkedIn, the LinkedIn alumni search, and use filters to find one person you'd like to connect with. And Erin, would you be able to put the link for the alumni search in the chat?
Yeah.
Thank you.
There it is. That'll take you to that alumni page.
Awesome. Yeah, so think about maybe like if you want to connect with someone in the Bay Area or in Santa Cruz, maybe you want to use your major, things like that. And yeah, we'll just take 2 minutes, but also if folks have any questions right now that they wanted to ask, feel free. All right. How common is it for employers to review someone's LinkedIn profile during the application process? I think it depends on the company, and it definitely depends on like the size of their hiring team and the resources that they have. Some companies only really want to assess candidates on the materials that they submit. But I think especially if you have your LinkedIn profile attached to your resume, it's definitely more likely that it's going to be reviewed. I don't have any kind of statistics, but maybe Erin, you might know a little bit more.
I mean, I haven't seen any I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be like this study said this and this study said that. I do know though that it is very common. I think, Bridge, you're right. I think it depends a lot of times on the industry. If it's tech, if it's business, a lot of times, like, you know, they're gonna they probably will. I'll say I do. Like when I've been on multiple hiring committees before this job here, I would hire people as well. I was, you know, did some hiring, like I was a hiring manager to some degree. And so I would look at the LinkedIn profile, and I would sometimes even look to see, like, there's things that can be on your resume, or there's things that might be on your LinkedIn that aren't going to be on your resume because you're going to pick and choose what's the most important on your resume. But I would sometimes look to see, like, well, is this on their LinkedIn? If something's on their LinkedIn and it's not, I'm sorry, if something's on their resume and it's not on their LinkedIn, I would sometimes be like, I wonder what that is. So, like, yeah, they absolutely, I would say a lot of employers do look at the LinkedIn. And it's not, I wouldn't say recruiters do so much. I think once you get to like the hiring manager stage where you're like a candidate that's like, I'd say once you get into into interviewing with a hiring manager, that would probably be when, and I would say maybe it is probably the hiring manager and the hiring committee that will sometimes look at LinkedIn profiles.
Yeah, thank you for the question. We'll move on from the activity. And as we're wrapping up, what I'd really appreciate is for folks to fill out our end of workshop survey. And I'll put that in the chat for you. It's just, I think like 3 to 5 multiple choice questions. Just let us know what your thoughts were on this event, and any feedback that you would like to provide for us. We definitely take that into account as we continue to update our presentations. And then now that we're at the end of the workshop, we will have time at the end for questions. We're also available to support, directly with helping you with your LinkedIn profile at the end of this workshop. But I did want to go over some of the main resources from Career Success. But Erin, I saw that you unmuted if you wanted to say something briefly.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm going to share, if you don't mind, I'm going to share a tool that one of our colleagues put together that I really like. It's kind of like using LinkedIn. It kind of goes over the stuff that Bridge just talked about. And it's a document like using LinkedIn for alumni connections. So it's a pretty helpful guide, I think. I've found it to be helpful. I think that they did a good job with it.
Yeah, that's a great resource. Thank you, Erin. Going over some of the resources or the main resources that Career Success provides for you. So one thing I will say before even talking about the resources is that you as a student receive these as part of your tuition and fees. Like, you already pay for this. Definitely take advantage of these resources. We have so many different ways that you can get involved with our office. One of them is drop-in coaching. So if you need support with a resume, a cover letter, getting started with finding internships or part-time jobs on LinkedIn, you can definitely come in or attend virtual peer drop-in sessions with our peer coaches team. We also do one-on-one career coaching with full-time staff like me and Erin. We have different specialty areas, but we serve all students. So usually, our appointments are booked about a week in advance, but you can make a 30, 45, or hour-long appointment with any of us to talk about more like career exploration, figuring out what you want to do. We also do support with like grad school preparation, and like pre-health, pre-law, things like that. We can talk about interview and salary negotiation, and really any kind of things that you're thinking about in terms of your career preparation and career development. Another really big opportunity that we provide, usually multiple times a quarter, is our career fairs. We recently just did our STEM career fair, and we had like 450 students attend. It's one of our biggest events. So we bring in employers that want to hire students, whether it's for an internship or for a full-time job, and we try to focus them on different industry areas. So we have like a STEM fair. Sometimes we do our business, arts, and social sciences and humanities fair. So definitely recommend that you check those out. We will definitely be having some additional fairs in spring. We also do workshops like this, but we also bring in different workshops with employers. I know Erin just recently completed a workshop with NVIDIA, which is a really big employer in the Bay Area, but also a global company. At Career Success, we also host the Handshake portal. So Handshake is where you're going to find all on-campus jobs, but also many different jobs in the Santa Cruz area and like in the region and also kind of across the US. If you are still kind of in that career exploration phase, we offer many different career coaching assessments. We have the Focus 2 assessment, and we also have a couple different resources like what can I do with this major? We handle all student employment. So if you become a student employee at UCSC, you'll definitely be chatting with us for a little bit. And lastly, we run a couple different internship programs like the Chancellor's undergraduate internship program. And then I wanted to mention some upcoming events that we have. We have a Super DAR workshop, which is about interview prep. We also have a humanities workshop on resumes, a campus to career talk with the humanities department for someone that works at talent acquisition at Amazon. And then Erin, I think there might be an additional one that you wanted to mention.
Yeah. So it's actually on March 4th, and it's also another campus to career, also with someone from Amazon, but they're from Amazon Web Services, AWS, and they have a different role. So this person is a UX researcher. So if you're interested in UX design, UX research, this is somebody that actually has had a 25-year career. So they're pretty established. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about is how to how to navigate that process of like growing and becoming like a senior level person within a company. And so that I dropped the link in the chat. That is it's a virtual event from 1 to 2 on Tuesday, March 4th. And you'll have to register on Handshake to get the link to the Zoom link.
Yeah, thank you, Erin. Since we're wrapping up the quarter, we're kind of wrapping up our events too, but we will definitely have a lot of events happening in spring as well. And to keep up with our events, we have an event calendar on our website, but you can also follow our Instagram. We're at UCSC Career Success. Wanted to shout out our resources. Once again, we have our professional photo booth and our career clothing closet, which is open whenever we're open. So Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 typically. We also have drop-in career coaching. So if you don't have time to make an appointment, but just have some questions that you'd prefer to be answered by like a full-time career staff, myself, Kimmy, and Eric all do different career coach drop-in appointments throughout the week. And then additionally, in terms of our peer coaches, they are now really well versed in getting prepared for pre-health. So if you're interested in a healthcare career, definitely consider doing peer coach drop-in with them. We also have our general drop-in hours here as well. And if they are updated for spring, they'll be available on our website as well. That's it from us. We really appreciate you all coming here today, and Erin and myself will stay on to help with any potential LinkedIn questions that you might have as well.
Thank you very much. And yeah, happy to kind of, if you wanted us to look over your LinkedIn profile,